awareness and sensitization, peace building and developing national values, and monitoring government programs for accountability purposes. While all these activities have resulted in a number of changes and good achievements, achieving greater impact is still made by a number of challenges that civil society organizations face in the country. Critical is that there are various laws of late that have progressively been enacted and passed by our parliament, geared at regulating the activities and the nature of interactions by civil society organizations. And as I will talk about them, I'll later on tell you the nature of these laws and how they are actually curtailing the effectiveness with which civil society organizations can actually deliver on peace promotion. CSO's exposure and experience with diversity depends on its scope of work, largely I must say. Community-based organizations are most likely serving a community with less ethnocultural diversity than a national NGO. And further still, an international NGO working across the country would have to strike a balance between the expectations of its umbrella institution and the various cultural experiences that it encounters in the areas of operation within the Ugandan context and other countries at that. So specifically, let me look at the roles that civil society in Uganda plays and to what extent do they promote peace or insecurity in the country. Looking at the role of sensitization and awareness raising, it's one of the most commonly conducted activity by CSOs in Uganda, and it is basically meant to provide information on pluralism to the young people. And this is done in open forums such as community meetings, school outreach programs, and sometimes use of media, social media, radio programs, television stations, etc. And there are efforts by CSOs to develop and present appropriate messages that suit the various audiences of the young people, depending on their age, depending on their levels of education, depending on their capacity to actually digest the nature of information that is given to them. And participation is always emphasized for both male and female, and there is also emphasis a lot more on inclusion to ensure that there is disability inclusion, there is inclusion of the most marginalized, the most disadvantaged young people. However, sometimes these activities are not always inclusive. As much as civil society organizations try to bring on board every young person, but sometimes there are instances where some young people are left out and therefore do not benefit on information regarding pluralism. For example, you may bring together people with disability, but depending on the nature of disability of the young persons, it will determine their capacity to actually effectively participate. It's not all about gathering the young people to come and be present in a meeting. If you bring around people with hearing impairment and you're not providing hearing aids, are you communicating? Are you trying to promote that change? So, in a way, civil society organizations, we need to take a step further to make sure that when we involve the young people, we involve them actively and to participate meaningfully. Sometimes there are challenges also when doing mobilization of the young people, given their different interests, the diversities. So depending on their experience, sometimes with the civil society organization, it will determine the participation of the young people. And there is need to always make sure that there is a balance in terms of bringing these young people together in the different communities where we go. So looking at the role of research and documentation, increasingly, there are increasing forms of intolerance that have often often triggered the need to conduct research and generate new knowledge that promotes pluralism in Uganda. And it's one of the critical roles that CSOs must always play. Research, research, and research.